waste. Over here in the top left-hand position is the blue Terran. It is Axiom's Heart.
Let's go Heart.
And his opponent, the Taiwanese superstar, it is Gamania Sen. ZVT on this map, I wish we've seen this before.
You wish we've seen ZVT on this map before?
Yeah,
I wish it too.
obviously, we just saw this a bunch of times, not only in the Sen series, but the Tasia series.
A lot of the time you see the same couple maps in each matchup because you have usually 2 maps or so for each player that they don't like in a specific matchup. So you end up with the same several maps.
Yeah. Now, I'm of the opinion that this map is actually pretty balanced for both players. I think that's why we're starting on here.
I think that's I think so too.
A map that we haven't seen played nearly as much as, I would say, Belshir Vestige. That's in the map pool, right?
Yeah.
But that's like the map we saw, I think most of the time in round of 32.
I think a lot of Zergs veto that in ZVT nowadays.
Has it just been figured out, or?
Well, I mean, usually games on Belshir Vestige is Terran attacks the 4th and it either dies or it doesn't die, and then one person wins.
Okay. Okay. I can understand why then.
I think Zergs these days feel like it slightly favors Terran, just because the bases are kind of close together, and as it gets to mid-game, I think Terran has an advantage because it's hard to have creep in front of the 4th base on that map. Like, you can have creep spread, but it'll usually go towards the middle of the map on Belshir Vestige, and spreading it in front of the 4th makes it kind of good for Terran when they're pushing towards it. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, and it's still a very balanced map, but I think that's why they'll veto it. Interesting,
though. Still, like, normally at least one player kind of likes it, but I guess all the Zerg players so far don't. Hart, I think he's going through a little bit of trouble with his nerves, as we were talking about earlier on. I mean, he just had a very lackluster performance against the Dong, and wasn't able to really showcase his skills, his true quality, I think, of a player. Now, what is this? Potentially a bunker rush? An SCV and a Reaper going in here. Kind of interesting.
Yeah, it might be to make a bunker. It's kind of late, though, for a bunker.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I guess he's just going to go mine some minerals and then go home.
Ain't no saying.
Taking any advantage.
He actually is. All right.
It's like now you'll mine out slightly faster.
That'll show.
I guess it's a bunker out here.
Okay. This is something that we've seen actually at the end of Wings of Liberty. I think this was really popular.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's because it was used for the Marines, though.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what he's doing it with Reapers.
I'm not sure either.
I mean, I guess then a drone can't walk past it and take the 3rd, but a drone can't walk past the 2 Reapers and take the 3rd either. So I'm not sure what it does. I mean, you can jump in it and heal safely, but you don't need to jump in something to heal. You can just back up.
Well, maybe it's just to jump in to heal something and also stop the creep. And that's really what it comes down to, guys. It's the creep that you want to recede or you want to stop as much as possible. Having a bunker here just says, well, you can't go past this direction, and then Reapers can also just jump out here and kill any creep tumors that are starting. But you know, Reapers just don't have the damage, the DPS to kill Queens in time.
Yeah.
There's not enough of them. Marines, you know, they're kind of throwaway units, but these are very gas intensive in the early stages, and I don't think they are throwaway units until, you know, Hellions are kind of obsolete. These are still very useful.
Yeah, you want them. The Reapers deal more DPS against the Queens than the Hellions, so it complements them pretty well and lets them fight Queens until there's at least 2 to 3 extra Queens.
Roachworn is going down, though. And we will see Sen was able to get in and check out the starport that was popping up here.
Sen is one of these kinds of players that likes to figure out maybe like what build he's most comfortable with in a matchup and then use that build every time. I remember against Parting back at BlizzCon last year, he did the exact same build with double evolution both games. Or not both games, all 3 games, and lost every game to a Parting Immortal Island. But he just likes to kind of find one build that he's comfortable with and use it every game. A nice standard build, as we see. He likes this Roach opening, and he did it both games against, or all 3 games against Tasia, I think. And then, did he?
I feel like the last game he didn't, but now I'm forgetting. Anyway, he did it a lot.
Yeah, and we see it coming out again, just making the same 5 roaches and then stopping that production and probably just drawing up a ton after it.
Command center will go down for Hart as he is looking to macro directly behind this. But still, I'm still searching for somewhere where his build does something that's really powerful. I haven't found it yet, but now targeting down one of the roaches. That helps out. Transfuse, though, saves the roach. And he's going to be able to kill this bunker before it actually salvages. Haha, take that. But still, not much of value so far. Hellion's getting slightly peppered. Is Sen in an okay position? Is he ahead, behind, etc.?
I think it's pretty even at this point. Nothing much has happened.
Even with the fact that he didn't get a command center that fast? I mean, he has to be behind. Yeah, he's behind in harvesters.
I mean, he's behind in workers, but Terran's usually behind in workers against Zerg until it gets to at least mid-late game, and then even you still want to be behind in workers a lot as Terran.
Yeah.
And I mean, if one of these players' builds put them like behind much, like against the others, then you just do that build against like the other guy's build every time. I
Well,
mean, they've
sense.
both done their builds a lot, and they're pretty comfortable against what they see, and they don't think they're much behind at all. I don't think.
Still no evolution chambers. There they are. Evolution chambers being popped down for Sen with the engineering base being slightly faster for our Terran friend over here. Banshee going into the back of the base. Spore Crawler already set up there and a lot of larvae as well.
Yeah, I don't think this Banshee can kill that Queen though. It's taking too much damage already. It just has to back off. And Viking moving around at the top half of the map. I like this Viking. It kind of enables you to do more medevac drops in the mid-late game.
This is something we saw Tasia do a lot against Jaedong. Actually, 2 of the 3 games we saw a Viking pop out really, really early on in the match. And just cut down a lot of the eyes and also kills a couple of Overlords. It's pretty nice. And especially against like lesser Zerg players, they won't re-spread out their Overlords. So into mid-game you have that advantage, but I think Sen is of the caliber that always tries to put a surround of Overlords around his opponent. Viking will take out a single Overlord so far, and we just have a lot of passive play. Let's check out the income tab once again. 65 harvesters to 55. Very even game. Very, very standard game.
Yep. We do have a double medevac drop moving down the map though, and this could this could get some damage done. I don't think Sen is going to be completely prepared for this actually. If we look at the units, he only has 5 roaches and 11 Zerglings in the map, and that's not enough to deal with 16 Marines and 2 medevacs.
No, it is not. Thankfully, it's actually only 14. For some reason, he didn't fill one of his medevacs all the way. Maybe he didn't have enough stim just to finish, and now he's going to get in here.
Still, I don't think he has enough to deal with this.
Yeah, and again, he's being punished. This is doing some crippling damage. The roaches are just so slow. Now, units will pop out here in a little bit. 27 Zerglings underway. Muta's also getting in here, but you don't want your Mutas tanking the damage.
Yeah,
and
he should just target fire Mutas whenever he can. Or I guess he can get away too.
That works. That works because the Muta count isn't nearly as high, but he's going to take out one of the medevacs and just burst out of there. Zergling's going to join up to tank the damage, and now killing the second medevac will be pivotal. And this is a nice win for Sen. I thought he was dead, but he always has these type of comebacks in these fights.
It was a nice
shouldn't say
defense.
always.
Definitely didn't take as much damage as in the previous situation.
Again, another push up into the front of the natural in the third base, trying to clear up as many tumors as possible. Banelings are being morphed as we speak. And because of the income tab, 79 harvesters, Sen is only on mass units. That's something that Hart needs to be very wary of, very scared of. And he just promptly pulls back. Marine going up to the top. Combat shields is just about to finish. So he's okay with all the major upgrades. But 2-2 hasn't been started yet. Unfortunate because his armory was late over here. But I think Sen has a nice little advantage going into the game. He has his 4th base already established. Although he doesn't have good creep spread, so that's going to be the main point of contention. We'll see if Hart can do anything about it.
He also doesn't have that many mutalisks now. He has 6 in the field with another 8 in production, but that'll only put him at 14. It's pretty low again. I think Sen just seems to prefer to only make about 12 to 15 mutalisks in the matchup, not make any more.
Yeah, as opposed to Jaedong style, we saw him go up to 30 mutas realistically. He was swinging over 24 for a long time, but you always saw in the production tab he wanted a little bit more. Was never able to maintain that. Drop in the main base was shut down by some queens and Zerglings, and He's just inching forward with these units. Now, Roaches are able to tank a little bit of the damage. Baneling's bursting in through. One Widow Mine was able to connect really nicely. Sen needs to be careful. Actually, both these players need to be careful. The one good thing, as we were talking about, is Hart is going to be having most of these engagements off creep. He's going to poke up a little bit with his units, try to influence Sen to push in, and then have a really nice split in engagement. Nice burst damage onto those Mutas. AoE going to do a lot of damage, and Baneling's not able to get away. This is looking nice, but now attacking on creep isn't going to be enough. No, Sen is forced to retreat back, and he will give up his third.
Hart had some pretty good micro against his Banelings there. Splitting is actually harder than a lot of people think, because a lot of people just think of it as in like the splitting you do in micro battles. But in an actual game, it's a lot harder because you don't just want to split so the Banelings don't kill your units. You want to be fighting as much as possible while you split them.
Yeah.
And Hart did an excellent job with that in that engagement.
Yes, he did. Now doing combination attacks. I mean, you can see this third base under attack, and Sen being punished a little bit for taking the wrong fourth base location. I mean, I think that's what it really comes down to. You don't want your army to be attacking off creep, and normally you're concentrated so much on trying to get creep spread into the main, well, the center of the map, and he just didn't have that. Well, he did have the center of the map creep, but he didn't utilize it. Unfortunately, now behind in bases. I mean, I say behind, he's 3-3. But when you're even in bases against a Terran, things get a little bit dicey. Oh, gosh. And Sen's going to lose a lot of Zerglings and Banelings, but it looks like he will be able to clean up. A boost will get some of the units out of here, but not a lot. It looks like the Mutas are still going to continue to keep going forward. I love this, though. The Widow Mine's going to keep him safe. And it's not a position where he can just willy-nilly just attack one of the Widow Mines and get out, because there's so many Widow Mines right there. So doing it correct. And now even, I mean, he loses a lot of Zerglings every single time, but somehow he always comes back with a lot more Zerglings. And 38 Zerglings in production. I mean, this is just purely macro coming out of Sen. This is what he's good at. We saw him against Tasia do so well. Now he's doing it against Hart. Is he able to overwhelm his opponent? Nicely done. The Widow Mines aren't able to get... actually, they get decent connections, and even attacking on creep.
Yeah, none of the Banelings were able to connect, so even though the Banelings, or the Widow Mines didn't kill that many Zerglings, none of the Zerglings can't do the damage, it's the Banelings, and no Banelings connected with Hart's units there.
Well, going in once again, nice Widow Mine hit on the majority of the units, but look at this, he's just kiting back and back and back until there are no Banelings left, and then from there he's just taking it home. I mean, Sen's count in Mutas are dwindling, 12 out on the field. His upgrades are starting to lose out since 3-3 is approaching, 2-2, or 3-3 for Sen hasn't even started yet. Hive is approaching as well, and now another engagement is going to go so incredibly well for Hart, as the Mutas are the last units left, and a very small amount of Zerglings and Banelings are left after this. Attack into the main base. Drop is going to do a little bit of damage here. Targeting down the medevac is the right decision, but not able to save that extra queen. That's going to put Sen in a really awkward position. Again, just drilling down into the main base. Hart is a completely different Hart than what we saw when he faced off against Jaedong.
Yeah. And Hart, he looks pretty good this time. Again, I think it was his nerves against Jaedong. We never saw him get into this kind of a macro game like we're seeing here. And he looks pretty good at it. His macro is looking solid. His engagements in the mid-late game have all been good so far as well.
I mean, as soon as he got the advantage, he knew how to maintain it. I think he's maintaining it so much better than even Tasia did on the game in Derelict Watcher. He's taking much harder engagements, attacking on creep a lot more than Tasia, and still able to make it work. Again, going in here, Widow Mines will be able to connect pretty beautifully. And this is going to be the cleaning. Yeah, this is going to be the cleanup crew. Sen has nothing left. He's trying to do something about it, but GG gets called out, and